There's Pacific Open. Good to see that's up and running as it should be. Let's see if we can't find the Pacific Elite stream. There it is. So the stream's up, the chat's up. The audio is working as it should. Fantastic. Well, hello everyone and welcome back after our 3-week break. Thanks to the Australian Grand Prix in the Easter long weekend, we're finally back to racing, and this is round 13 of the PlayStation Pacific Elite Championship here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Everingham, your lead commentator for this event, and this time we're racing at Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Imola, as it's more commonly known, is a 4.9 kilometer, 19-turn circuit that was created in 1953 and has been hosting Formula One Grand Prix since 1980. It's a legendary racetrack known for its demanding, hard-to-pass nature. There are plenty of hazards for the drivers to be mindful of, such as the awkward curbs at the chicanes of Tamburello, Villeneuve and Alta. The main area to be wary of on the circuit is the high-speed complex of Acqua Minerale, formed by turns 11, 12 and 13. It has been an accident hotspot in online league racing ever since this track was reintroduced. Overtaking will be limited to the single DRS zone on the main straight that leads into the circuit's opening chicane of Tamburello. The rest of the circuit is either too fast, too narrow, or both to try and make any sort of moves. As a result, this makes qualifying and the race start all that more important. But before we focus on qualifying, there is a little bit of news to go through first from the previous race in Australia. No penalty or steward reports coming out from what I can see, so the results stand from Australia. In the Drivers' Championship, ACW is leading on 264 points, followed by F1 Ferrari Pro on 257. There's only 7 points separating the two in the championship, and with only 3 rounds remaining, it means Imola will be a key round in the Drivers' Championship. Plevs is mathematically still involved. He's on 220 points, 44 points behind our championship leader. He needs a bit of luck to go his way, though, to keep himself in the fight. Sildefort is 4th on 148 points. It sort of demonstrates how dominant the top 3 have been. Roscoe Arm is 5th, just 7 points behind Sildefort on 141. And completing the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship, we have Pump 46, GeForce Pato, Bags Liddell, Hilles, and BP V8. In the Constructors' Championship, Alfa Romeo are leading on 405 points, followed by McLaren on 329. It's very much looking like a one-sided affair in the Constructors' Championship. I think Alfa Romeo have more or less got it at this point. Ferrari are 3rd on 308, so it's a pretty tight fight between McLaren and Ferrari in the Teams' Championship. Mercedes are next on 222 points, followed by Red Bull on 219. Completing the table, we have Aston Martin, followed by AlphaTauri, Haas, Williams, and Alpine at the bottom of the table. That's pretty much all the news out of the way. I can now introduce my co-commentator for tonight. Once again, it's KD1997. Now, KD, you'll be racing here in a few days' time. What's your views of this legendary racetrack?
Well, thanks for having me again as well. Imola, it's an interesting track. I mean, I've only raced here twice so far in my F1 league racing time, both in dry and wet weather conditions, and pretty much everything you said is pinpoint. It's a very fast, demanding track. It's very tricky to pass to as well. Maybe like a couple overtaking hot spots, I would say, around here, but it's kind of limited as well. But overall, it's a good circuit. I respect the circuit, especially its history, of course. But yeah, I'm keen to see how I'll go for Tuesday as well, because that also will be a crucial race for me in the championship, as you may understand.
Yeah, you have a pretty solid shot of wrapping up the Drivers' Championship in Imola if everything goes your way, which on current form it seems to be a fairly high chance of that happening. So, but no,
time will tell.
time will tell. Quite right. But no, when I heard Imola was coming onto the calendar back in 2020, I got excited because I appreciate this racetrack for its historical value, a bit like Monaco in a way. Like I've never been particularly good at Monaco, but I've always respected the racetrack and its historical value. When I came to this track, I initially liked it quite a lot, doing some time trial laps. But when I started doing league races here, I started to realise the pitfalls and dangers of this racetrack. You got quite a bit to deal with. You got those awkward curbs at Variante Tamburello, Variante Villeneuve. Not so much Variante Alto, the quick chicane of turns 14 and 15, but Tamburello can be a bit of a pain. And the rest of the racetrack's quite fast, quite narrow. So if you make a mistake, you don't have a lot of breathing room. So, and I've noticed over my commentary stint here at Imola, Acqua Minerale is going to be a major accident hotspot. There is so little traction going up the hill at Acqua Minerale. We see Keegdew coming through it now. This uphill section has claimed quite a few drivers. There's just no traction at all. So, and these guys are running no assists at all. So there's nothing to help them out. So, yeah. And if it rains, well, best of luck.
It's even worse than the rain. I could definitely promise you that.
Oh,
I remember that very well.
Hopefully the rain stays away. Hopefully.
Oh, goodbye, Key Dog.
Oh, dear.
Well, not really a goodbye, but he spun at Rivata 2.
Yep. He'll probably duck back into pit lane. Another little area you have to be careful of, because the pit lane speed limiter line actually comes up to you pretty quickly, especially when you're entering at full pelt. So, yeah, plenty for the drivers to worry about here. For us here in the comm box and everyone watching at home, as we talked about earlier, overtaking is going to be a bit limited, I think, to just purely this DRS zone. I don't know if anyone could really make any other moves anywhere else.
I mean, so there's another spot you could do. Piratella, you could try as well.
Oh, God. Have fun at Piratella, though, going side by side through that thing. Oh, goodness. That would be...
I was going to ask you, though, isn't it like 80 Ks, though, for the pit lane?
Yes, it's 80 kilometers an hour, yep.
Yeah, I thought
or in
so. Okay.
in Queen's English, 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a fairly quick entry into the pits compared to racetracks like Australia or Silverstone, where you have to slow the car down all the way to 60 kilometers an hour. It's a little bit quicker here at Imola. It's BPV8 making his way out of Variante Villeneuve, heading towards Tosa. I can see drivers trying to make moves into here, but the run between Villeneuve and Tosa isn't massive. So you can't really build yourself up. You can't build up speed to try and pass, like do a big dive bomb or something down the inside of Tosa. And with Piratella, ideally you want the car in front to maybe get a bad run out of Tosa, the hairpin. And then you try and draw alongside and try and get by. But yeah, I think for the most part, everything we'll see overtaking-wise will happen on the main straight heading into Tamburello. A bit like what we saw with the sprint race yesterday in real life. Basically, all of the overtaking was done with DRS down the main straight.
Which doesn't surprise me at all. Especially the fact with the current cars we've got, not these ones, obviously, I'm talking about the real life ones.
Yeah.
Especially how big those cars are, because they are massive as well. If you look at them as well. Like, I remember looking at a side-by-side comparison video on Instagram, and it showed like the Alpine 2022 car, and then it's alongside the Renault R26, and it's massive. Imagine having that. Well, you can imagine actually now. With that car around Imola, yeah, it's gonna be quite difficult.
Yeah,
with those cars being big.
Absolutely right. Like, it's not just the width that makes it difficult for drivers to try and pass one another, the length of the wheelbase has a fairly big effect on how difficult it is to pass, because you have more car to pass lengthwise. So it's very difficult for the car behind to draw alongside and do the big dive bomb to get by. They're also heavier cars, significantly heavier compared to the R26, the Renault R26. Like, that thing weighed just over 500 kilos. The modern Formula 1 car, I think it's 790 kilos, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Like, they're really heavy, and that's thanks to the hybrid system and how much that weighs.
Yeah, and of course you got the new aero package as well.
Yeah, so the cars aren't producing anywhere near as much downforce. Well, they shouldn't be, but they're still quick. They still produce heaps of downforce, just not the levels of these things. So
exactly.
I'll be keen to see how Cody's implement that in F1 22.
Not 2022.
22. I almost said 2022. But I managed to stop myself and I said 22. That would take a little bit of getting used to. Just a little bit, not much. Or should I give it its full name, EA Sports F1 22? I guess that's its full name. I don't know. As GeForce Zach crosses the line, goes 8th quickest with a 15.2. Currently, GeForce Ford is at the top of the table with a 1 minute 14.138. Bags Liddell is second with a 14.5, just under 4/10 behind. So it's a fairly big gap between the top two at the moment. Our two championship protagonists, in the Drivers' Championship that is, they're currently P3 and 4, so it's quite fitting to see them fairly close together on track in terms of where they are in qualifying, of course. As Keeg Duke here is making his way around Ravazza, arguably the most important part of the circuit, as the exit speed at Ravazza 2 dictates how much speed you carry down the main straight, as Pump has retired, crashed out at the exit of Toza. Long way after. Look at that.
Oh, that's a little ways, yeah.
Yeah, he used all of the curb on the outside of Toza, from the looks of things, and put it into the wall. Don't know.
That's a good way of educating that, but yeah. Interesting.
Well, poor fella, he's out of qualifying, and the best he can hope for is 11th. 12th.
I like that 12th.
Soon as Pump... wasn't Pump, it was BP crossing the line. There's a 15.4.
My goodness.
There's a 13.9. Yep.
Jeez.
40 looks
That's
quick.
Quite a lap.
That is very quick. A 13.9 for 40.
He also has done that on. He's also done on the same tire too.
Yeah, he has 2-lap-old soft tires. So
goodness.
Got a Ferrari off the track as well. That must be Keeg Duke going off.
Yes.
Plevs is coming back into the pits.
That's further up Variante Alta. Too.
BP making his way through Variante Villeneuve, heading towards Toza, entering in at 120 odd.
Oh, and he does it. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Keeg just spun again at Ravazza 2.
Yeah, I can see stationary dot there. Gets pointed back in the right direction. He'll go back into the pits. He's got heaps of time to try and set another lap as BP invalidated his flying lap. I'm guessing he did that at Piratella turn 9. Very easy thing to do, that. ACW getting ready. Well, tell you what, we're right on board with him. We'll give you a guided tour of this 4.9 kilometre circuit. Coming around Ravazza. Go on the accelerator, foot all the way down to the floor. We'll open DRS, take a really wide line to try and carry as much speed down the main straightaway as possible. Around the brief left-hand kink of turn 1, bit of lag there. Heading into Tamburello, turns 2, 3, and using all of the curve there at the exit of 3, around turn 4. Heading towards Variante Villeneuve now, turns 5 and 6. It's a nice exit there at turn 6, around turn 7. Toza, as ACW is up by 75 thousandths of a second. Heading up the hill around the little right-hand kink of turn 8 into Piratella turn 9, 5th gear, back on the power, around turn 10, down the hill towards Aqua Minerale, turn 11, now 12 and 13, keeps that car nice and straight, gets all the power down as well, into Variante Alta now, he's up by almost half a second, gets a nice exit there at turn 15, he only has Ravazza now to negotiate. Towards the little right-hand kink of turn 17, now into the key corners of Ravazza. 3rd gear, back on the power, short shifting to 4th, keeping it in 4th for turn 18. Now down the main straightaway, around the final corner, the little corner of turn 19, and ACW jumps up to P2 with a 1 minute 14.114. Just 2/10, well less than 2/10 actually, it's more like a 10th and a half behind GeForce Ford's current pole time. And a few other drivers on flying laps as GeForce Ford retires in the pit lane. He is satisfied with his lap. Got Asnick making his way towards Aqua Minerale. Really needs to try and send it here on the brakes, back on the power at the exit of turn 12. Keeps that car nice and straight as well, up towards the middle sector split. Clock says he's up by half a second. And he invalidates there at turn 14. An easy thing to do, just cutting that little bit too much at the beginning of Variante Alta. Exiting Variante Villeneuve. Ferrari Pro is up by a 10th and a half in the first sector. He does have traffic in front of him though. Power side gets out of the way. There is an Aston Martin in front. That's Gilles in P5. Gets out of the way now. Ferrari Pro heads around Aqua Minerale. It's down to 3rd gear at turn 12. Keeps it in 3rd through 13. Now towards Variante Alta. Ferrari Pro is now up by 0.3 of a second to the middle sector. Exiting the chicane. Heading towards Ravazza now. And the little kink of turn 16. As ACW has retired in the pit lane, it seems. Exiting turn 18 now. Heading back onto the main straightaway. He'll open DRS and cross the line to jump up to P3 with a 1 minute 14.303. Roscoe Arms up by 2.5 to the middle sector. We've got yellow flags about. I think that's Nick, who has made a mistake at Aqua Minerale. I think his qualifying is pretty much done and dusted. Power side's now on a flying lap, so is GeForce Zach. He's heading up to the first sector split. He's down by 0.5. Silderfort, I think his qualifying is over. He's not using any battery from the looks of things. Oh no, he is a little bit. He's hovering at 40% for quite a long time. Roscoe, his session appears to be done. And Bags, his session is done as well. He's invalidated his flying lap. Gilles make his way down towards Aqua Minerale now. Down the hill, around the right-hander, into the uphill chicane of 12 and 13. Heading towards the middle sector split. The clock says for the Aston Martin driver, he's up, but only just by 0.04 of a second. Plev's up by almost 0.3 to the middle sector as Keegduke improves to P8, so he's inside the top 10 with a 1 minute 14.788. Gilles is making his way around the two Ravazza curves. Coming out to turn 18 now, foot hard to the floor, heading up towards the line. Gilles will improve to P6 with a 14.5. Plevs improves to P4 with a 14.281. Missing out on P3 by 0.07 of a second. So the Ford, he's ducking back into pit lane. So, that's essentially qualifying over. It'll be GeForce Ford on pole position, the only driver in the 13s with a 1 minute 13.970. Beating ACW, who has set a 1 minute 14.114. His championship rival, Ferrari Pro, will line up just behind in P3. So the main championship protagonists towards the top. Good to see.
Yeah, pretty close. Really close, actually, in qualifying. Not surprising, really, to be fair.
Yeah, that's right. It's times here are relatively short. It's a very fast 5-kilometer racetrack, so yeah, you do expect times to be pretty close. But no, it's really, really good to see that top 10 separated by 1.2 seconds at the end of qualifying. So it's 40 on pole, followed by ACW, then Ferrari Pro, Ples P4, followed by Roscoe Arm, Bags Liddell P6, and Hilles P7, Keegdew P8, Silverthornton 9th, and Zach will round out the top 10. Outside the 10, we have Powerside P11, Ghost Rider in 12th, BP in 13th, Pump in 14th, Nick in 15th, and Andre will start from the back of the field in 16th place. Now, BP and Pump, they tried to set times on the medium compound tyre rather than setting times on the softs. If this is going to be a fully dry race, KD, what kind of strategy will you be trying to work with?
Well, this is something I was actually about to lead up to with you about that. I got word that it's going to be raining 30 minutes into the race. So what they're going to do... So what these mean rows, I reckon, are doing are going to go very long until it starts raining. Then go then go onto the intermediate tire, I assume.
Well, we can see now, there's still patches of blue sky about, so it's not completely overcast, but we do have cloud cover, so 30 minutes in, the soft tyre can't go that long. It can't do 30 minutes. Not in a 50% race anyway.
No.
If it was a 100% race, then it'll be a different story. But 50% race, 30 minutes, that's about, oh goodness, in the high teens at least. So those soft runners will be probably banking on a safety car coming out early so they can pit onto a more ideal set of tyres, probably a set of mediums. That would mean, as well, for those outside the top 10, they'll probably start on the medium tyre. I don't think anyone would start on the softs. Let's find out. One.
Just one.
So everyone in the top 10 will be starting on used soft compound tyres from qualifying. It'd be nice to abolish this rule in the next game as well, so then we just get free reign on the tyre choice. I think that'll be quite nice, to be honest. So, Powerside, first driver outside the 10, starting on the medium compound tyre. Ghost Rider, he's electing to start on the soft tyre. He's the only driver outside the 10 starting on the soft tyre. BP starting P13 on the medium, same with Pump in P14, and Nick in P15, and Andre in P16. So we've got 5 cars on the mediums, 11 on the soft tyre, one of which are fresh soft compound tyres. Everyone else used. You can see as well 40 Sporting and Ayrton Senna helmet, which is quite nice, in tribute to the great Brazilian. No, this is the place where he tragically lost his life in 1994. Arguably the most impactful... Would you say it's the most impactful moment in Formula One history? Certainly up there.
I would definitely say it's up there with Senna's death.
That whole weekend.
Oh,
just
the Black Weekend, yeah. It was literally bad. Barrichello's bad accident in practice.
Yeah.
Then Roland Ratzenberger's crashing on qualifying, and then we obviously hit on Senna.
Yeah.
It wasn't the greatest. It wasn't a great weekend for Formula One.
No.
So that.
And after that day, a lot of racetracks drew a line in the sand, and they introduced a lot of chicanes to some fast parts of their racetracks. Probably the most famous one was they added quite a tight chicane after Eau Rouge, heading up the hill towards Raidillon at Belgium. Fortunately, I suppose, depending on how you look at it, they changed it the following year and just reprofiled Eau Rouge. So, yeah. Rightio, everyone's lined up, ready to race now. We've got 10 red lights, and we are underway here in Imola. It's a nice start for 40, a very nice start indeed. Ferrari Pro is trying to challenge ACW down towards Tamburello for the first time in race conditions. He's looking to the inside into turn 2. ACW fighting back though through 3, heading towards turn 4. Haas running wide in the background. That would be BPV8. Ples trying to have a go on ACW now into Variante Villeneuve. They're side by side through turn 6, heading up towards turn 7. Plebs has the inside line for 7. Down he goes into third place. Meanwhile, in the midfield, Hilles and Bags are battling for position. We have yellow flags on the racetrack. It's Keegjude in the Ferrari. He has spun at turn 7. He's now down in last place. The rest of the field are making their way toward around Piratella, down towards Aqua Minerale. Silverfort, you're not really in a position to attack just yet. Bit of a gap now forming between Zach and Ghost Rider. 1.6 seconds between the two. Pump, he's trying to get by the Williams driver. Can't do it there. Variante Alto, though. Ghost Rider completely uses it. So does Nick as well. So two cars spinning at the chicane. And there goes Keegjude into 14th place.
He was on there.
Otherwise,
he had a bit of a moment there too. Rabatza too.
Yeah, he's lost time.
At least it looked like. Yeah.
The 40 leading the way with almost a 1 second margin between himself and Ferrari Pro at the front of the field. Plebs P3, a nice start from him. HCW in 4th with his teammate right behind, Roscoe Arm in 5th. So the Alfa Romeo duo looking as solid as ever. Bags Liddell in P6, Hilles in 7th, Silverfort and Zach, the two Red Bulls, in 8th and 9th, and Pump rounds out the top 10. So we have both Alphas, both Mercedes and both Red Bulls inside the top 10 at this point. In terms of position change, Pump is the one who has gained the most. Started 14th, he's currently 10th. BP's made up 2 places, Andre has made up 3. Biggest loser is Keegjude. Something happened to him at Toza, resulting him spinning out or being off the racetrack. He was down in 16th when he got going again. He's now 14th thanks to Ghost Rider and Nick spinning out here at Variante Alta. Those drivers 10th and below, they've got a lot of catching up to do. Like 2.7 seconds. Oh dear, that's Nick again.
And Nick, yeah, he's not having a good time there. Variante Alta.
Yeah, it's pointed back in the right direction. And he's still going, that's the main thing.
Meanwhile, Ford's pulled up almost a 2-second lead by the end of the second lap.
He looks quick. He looks very quick. Down towards Variante Villeneuve now. There's still a battle going on for second place between Ferrari Pro, Plebs, ACW, Roscoe Arm, Bags and Hilles and Silverfort in P8. They're all in this massive train. All have the potential to battle for second place if the opportunity arises. Around Piratella and down towards Aqua Minerale. These two fairly even from the looks of things at this point. Oh dear, something's happened to Hilles. He's around. Oh, dearie me. Well, thank goodness ghosting is turned on here. Otherwise, that would have been an almighty accident, but he was... yeah.
Thank God.
It was still working when Ghost Rider arrived.
Yeah. I had my mouth there for a brief moment when I saw that. Speaking of which, Ghost Rider's got a 3-second penalty.
Yeah. So, Ghost Rider already in trouble with track limits. Only 3 laps in. He's already got a pen. The leaders, meanwhile, they're on lap 4 of 32. And Plebs has closed in on Ferrari Pro thanks to the sheer power of DRS. BP has overtaken Pump as well. So BP is into 9th place. He's now got 3 seconds of clear air to try and catch up to G-Force Zach if he can. BP last night put on a fairly nice display of driving in Mexico City for Formula Endurance. I had the job of filling in for Black Moon that night. It's quite an interesting race as well at Mexico City. But Mr. BP went from last place, which was 19th, onto the podium in 3rd place. It could have been a bit more if he didn't get 12 seconds worth of penalties and if he didn't DC with 5 laps to go. His Bags runs awfully wide and yellow flags are about. It's power sight. Oof.
Aqua Minerale.
Yep. It's going to catch a few drivers out tonight. It's just the nature of that section makes it really easy for drivers to lose control. And if they're lucky, they don't put it into the wall. They just do a bit of lawn mowing. But if they're unlucky, then it could ruin their race entirely. Silverfort overtaking Bags Liddell. Look at that. Just easy move. Easy move. did that at the little kink of turn 1.
And you gain so much by DRS as well. Like, I mean, you gain about maybe half a second just down that main straight alone with DRS. It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's close to being one of the longer DRS zones. I think. Like, it starts at turn 19. Like, before turn 9... Ooh, Ghost Rider runs off the circuit a little bit. It starts before turn 19. It ends at turn 1. And that's a fairly lengthy straight. Like, I imagine Monza might be a bit longer, maybe? Exit of... Well, it's a fair bit after the exit of Parabolica towards Rettifilio. But,
Or, I mean, Mexico, like, the main straight is...
Yeah, that's long. Humongous.
That's stupidly long.
Yeah.
You saw them last night as well.
Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous how powerful that DRS zone is. But it's that long because of the nature of the racetrack being the tallest Grand Prix. So there's very, very little air around the racetrack. So DRS doesn't really provide much of an advantage because there isn't much drag because there isn't any air. But of course, Cody's don't simulate that in this game. It's like a normal atmosphere on any other racetrack. And as a result, that incredibly long DRS zone is just stupid powerful. Stupid powerful. So.
Yeah, and the fact that racetrack has only, well, 2 detection zones, and one of those detection zones has only works with 2 DRS zones. It's also even more ridiculous.
Yeah. So. But that's just Mexico, and that's the game, so we all have to deal with it. Oh, and a spin in the background. Bags Liddell is around at the exit of turn 13. It's pointed back in the right direction again and drops down outside of the top 10. He does need to be careful. Trying to get out of the way of some of the other cars. Well, careful here. Oh, yeah.
Oh, goodbye. He's gone.
Hiller's 3-second time penalty. Oh, careful. You don't want to get DQ'd. There we go. No, we've all done that, though, where we've lost it. Tyres get hot and you want to get going again, but there's no grip, and you just lose it. Like, we've all done that at one point. So.
Of course. Yeah, it's just frustration that you get built into your head anytime you make a mistake like that. It's like, shoot, I want to get back at it again. But then you gotta remember, you're driving an F1 car that's very sensitive to hot tires or even certain temperatures.
Yeah.
Of the tire.
So, you always have to keep that in mind. So you have to be really gentle with the car. And Bags actually pits for a new set of tires, a set of mediums to be exact. So he's just bit the bullet. He's gotten off the soft tire and onto a fresh set of mediums. So Andre, a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. He's done that at Piratella, I think. I'm pretty sure when that prompt came up. So probably just ran wide at turn 9, got himself a warning. I would guess. It's a very easy thing to do. Turn 9 is quite a fast corner. So it's very easy to lose grip on the front tyres and just understeer a little bit wide. Get a warning. Yes, Ford here, race leader. He's enjoying life with a 2.7 second margin to Ferrari Pro. He hasn't built up much more of a margin though. Sort of stayed at about 3 seconds or so. He doesn't need to push, mind you, but those behind haven't really fallen away too much. Hello.
Not entirely, but you never know what will happen. Zach's kind of penalty. He did use quite a bit of battery, though. I've noticed looking at his steering wheel. So of course he pushed on the first couple of laps. That's obviously another reason how he's got that 2.5, well, more than 2.5 second lead. He had a moment there coming out, or maybe I'm not sure. On my screen, he looked like he almost lost it, but then corrected it. But then
he had a moment there. That's for sure.
That was not lag on my end.
He definitely lost the back end coming out of Variante Alta. The back end is not cooperating on the Alpine. I guess it's suggesting those soft tyres probably aren't feeling particularly great. And as a result, he's coming into the pits, and there's someone off.
Ghost Rider's off with Aqua Minerale.
Another driver. Yeah, we're going to see a few of these.
Oh, Ford's in already.
Yep.
All right, well, there you go.
I had a feeling.
Fair enough. He's on another set of soft tires.
Well, as you mentioned earlier,
yeah,
rain and 30,
rain.
so he's not going to bother putting on a set of medium tires. He's just going to go onto another set of softs and wait for the rain. So
yeah, true. Well, if it is 30 minutes, well,
that's right. That's right.
That's legitimate.
If see, with the game, it can pull a sneaky one on you sometimes. So.
Exactly.
BP gets a 3-second time penalty. Sometimes it comes earlier, quite a bit earlier, as Rosquam, I think, got one as well. But sometimes it comes a lot later, like a lot later. You always have to be mindful.
Yeah, it's a strange game, F1 2021.
Can be, yeah. I mean, I saw something strange a few weeks ago, seeing proper rain at Abu Dhabi. And it was dynamic. The weather settings were dynamic. Yeah, during a race. The beginning of the race was wet, or intermediate conditions. In Abu Dhabi, I had never seen that before. ACW is into the pits. I call it a wonder of the gaming world. It actually rained, and it was on dynamic weather. It wasn't custom or anything. It was dynamic. So, I ticked that off. It's something I'd never seen before.
Especially that's at the track in the Middle East.
Yeah, typically it doesn't rain, period.
No.
So.
Oh, it was Plebs at a moment, I think. Because he lost the position to Roscoe. That was a Villeneuve chicane.
Seems like it. As 40 gets in front of ACW. Gap 5 seconds. Pretty big. BP gets by Pump as well. Keeg Duke and Hillers are on fresh, soft compound tyres. So a lot of drivers going the double soft route, waiting for the wet weather conditions to come around. Which isn't at all surprising. That they're willing to take that sort of gamble as Ghost Rider gets another pen.
But I do have my doubts, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, you never know with this game. And that's 40?
I think. No, it's Nick.
Let's see.
Yeah, he spun it to himself, unfortunately.
Well, 40 made a move on Andre.
Please be careful. Yeah.
And he gets back on the racetrack.
Yeah. Poor fella. He's not having the greatest of times.
Coming out of Variante Tamburello. Plebs takes back P2 from Roscoe, thanks to DRS. And for Plebs, he's still within a second of Ferrari Pro. So if he can stay within that range over the course of this lap, he can nab DRS on the next lap, lap 12. Do him a massive favour.
Exactly.
Thanks, Liddell, right on the back of Nick.
He's getting that back in that middle sector. Sorry.
And Vag should get a pretty easy overtake here on Nick, and he'll get by into P15. Remember, top 15 scored points. So this is a genuine battle for points, or what point? Probably to be more exact, but still, it matters. Meanwhile, Ferrari Pro leading the way. I wonder what these fellas' game plan are. Are they just going to stay out until the rain comes and just keep going? Seems like it. Like everyone else who was on the soft tyres pitted for new rubber. See what's Silverfoot Zach, they don't either.
Well, I've noticed the clouds have gotten a little bit more increasing. It's not completely covered, obviously, but it's getting there. I can definitely see that.
No, I reckon these guys who are still on the soft tyres, ACW sets a new fastest lap and overtakes Andre for P9. These fellas are going to try and stretch out their tyres for as long as they can until the intermediate conditions come. Now, the gap between 40 to the last car in this group who haven't pitted, which is G-Force Zach. So Zach's 10.6 seconds behind the leader. 40 is 18.6. So an 8-second gap between 40 and P5. Plus 2 cars he has to try and pass, both of which are on the medium compound tyre. And they're able to go until the intermediate conditions come around. So.
And if I remember correctly, too, Imola is a pretty lengthy pit lane as well. Even despite it being 8 kilometers an hour, I think you lose about 27, 28 seconds.
Right.
I want to say in the pit lane. So, well, by judging this, Ford and ACW can pull off a massive undercut to the top 3.
Yep.
At this rate.
Let's see here. Might see a change in position here.
Or it's
40.
up, by the way.
Oh, as Ghost Rider understeers wide, Everigham Alto rejoins between Keeg Duke and Hillez. Hillez try and get by the Williams driver. Into P13 he goes. So Ghost Rider down to 14th. Hillez is going to try and line up Keeg Duke. We're right on board here, give you an idea of the speed difference with DRS and without DRS. Heading down the main straightaway, the gap was about 6/10. Gap shrinks to 4.5, 4/10, 3.5, 3/10, 2.5 entering turn 2. You gain quite a bit.
About 4/10 difference. Plebs has got a 3-second penalty himself.
That's very unlike Plebs, actually.
That is very unlike Plebs. And he had no penalty last night, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, did a full race at Mexico, 71 laps long, and he didn't get a single pen, which is quite incredible. I did a small interview with him after the race, and I asked him did he have any warnings. He had 2 on lap 40, so he had to do 30-odd laps with 2 warnings. And that's not fun. That's not fun at all.
That's just basically being on the edge of a cliff.
Yeah, just constantly teetering on a rope. So, but no, he got no pens, and he almost took the win. It was actually an incredibly close finish between himself and this man on screen, GeForce Ford. At the end of the race, it was 53 thousandths of a second between 40 and Plevs. Top 2 at the end of the race.
Well, he's going to go for a move on DP at Piratella.
Down the inside, he gets it done.
Yep, of course, with the soft tire. Compared to the medium tire, of course.
Probably used a healthy bit of back. He used all of the curb there at turn 11.
Ooh, BP, that is extremely... What is that racing line, my guy?
What do you do?
He just cut it. Oh, he just ran wide and used all that blue AstroTurf or whatever. Tillis' crash, I think, at Toza.
Coming up to the accident here. Around Toza. There he is. He's almost on the racetrack. He's headbutted the barrier.
That's an interesting incident, but okay.
Headbutted and pushed back a little bit. Now disappeared, but no safety car.
But yeah, no, I heard I've seen it happen before where someone's taken that blue bit of the Aqua Minerale. But like not to cut it in potentially. I think I've seen it just like in qualifying, just to get to the line quickly or whatever.
Yeah.
Is, obviously, but yeah, no, it's just something new there for me.
Probably he could have made a mistake as well and just took a avoiding action.
Ran wide.
Yeah.
Nah, I probably just ran wide.
Down towards Variante Alta, the top 3 separated by 1 second. Heading out of the chicane, heading towards Ravazza. 15 laps they've done on these tyres. It's a fairly lengthy stint. They won't feel particularly great. And there's the raindrops, I think. Yep, the raindrops have arrived on lap 15 of 32. The heavens have opened. It's now beginning of lap 16.
Here comes Plevs on Ferrari Pro.
Here we go for the lead of the Grand Prix. Plevs does it trivially. That was just as easy as you like. Similar story here with Ford. And ACW. And BP. They all did.
Before Tamburello. Look at that.
Overtaking. Oh, that's easy. Just open the flap and whooshka. You're now ahead.
Drag, what is that?
That's incredible.
Just open the rear wing and we can just accelerate another 15 miles an hour.
That's not just a drag reduction system button. It's a hyperspace button. That's how much speed they get.
Yeah.
Oh, as Roscoe almost goes back into Ferrari Pro. As
Ferrari Pro's on the grass.
He cut all of the chicane. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I just got onto him. Jeez.
Yeah, I thought Roscoe was going into the back of Ferrari Pro. I thought he outbroke himself. Oh, hang on.
Oh, Ferrari Pro's not having a good time.
Puncture. He's got the rear
right puncture.
Yeah,
rear right puncture.
That explains a lot. That explains quite a lot.
40. He's got to be careful.
He gets through. He has to pit.
He's got to go in. He was on that tire for way too long.
Right. So that's why he went off at Variante Alta. He got a puncture. What does he pit onto? Intermediates?
Massively. See?
Yeah.
Yep, intermediates. I don't think that's the right call at the moment. I'd say.
It totally depends on the game at this point, on whether how long it takes to go to intermediate conditions.
Yeah, true, but it's not. It does not look like it's wet enough.
No,
it's
not right now. No. But then again, that doesn't stop the game from changing it to Inter. So.
Yeah, true.
But no, he's on the intermediate tire.
And DRS hasn't been disabled yet.
Nope. And that's the first indication that the track has turned to wet conditions. No, wretched luck for Ferrari Pro, getting a puncture. Now the question remains for Plebs and Roscoe, how are their tyres at this point? I mean, Ferrari Pro got a puncture, these two can.
Yeah.
They have to stay out.
Well, they're staying out for another lap, I guess. Jeez.
Still dry conditions at this point. Heading towards...
I'd be curious to know what the... Sorry.
Heading towards Toza. Roscoe isn't quite close enough to pass. And BP, well, he is close enough to pass. He's overtaken ACW. ACW can't quite fight back in Silderfort. Well, he's in P6, hovering behind. Pump a little bit further back and, well, okay then. G4 Zach has pitted onto a set of intermediates. He was one of the few drivers who started on the soft tyre. So he's moved now onto the intermediate tyre. Nice.
I was just say I was curious. I'm curious to know what Ferrari's tire wear was before he got that puncture. That's for sure. Especially get a rear right puncture.
And I'm guessing, like, it's usually after 70%, but after that point it can be RNG. Like, you can get to 71, 72% and you can get a puncture. A bit like this man during a race at Bahrain in the Pacific Series. Or the tyre can last until 100% and not get a puncture. Like Zach Crichton at the United States Grand Prix in Season 5. So, yeah, the game's a bit weird when it comes to deciding when the tyre lets go. Silderfort comes in to get off the soft tyre to move on to a set of mediums.
Right, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's still raining. Still a drop on the camera lens and the halo.
But you would think in these sort of conditions you want fresh softs, not fresh mediums.
Yeah, because of the mechanical grip, obviously.
Even if they're a slightly used set from qualifying, they'll be way quicker than the mediums.
Yeah, so. Obviously because they warm up the quickest, obviously.
Yeah, they're quick straight away. They don't take much to get temperature into them, and temperature's the key thing.
There's next in a moment there too at Toza. Obviously just struggling with the intermediates.
He's got another... Oh, hello.
That's Bags.
Bags.
Yeah. At the kink of turn 3. Well, that's actually way after that.
Plevs is going into the pits. Our race leader goes in. Roscoe Arm stays out. G-Force Ford is right there, only 6.5 tenths behind. How long can these tyres last on Roscoe Arm's car? He's done over half the race, well over half the race on these tyres. A single set of tyres. Trying to make him last an incredibly long time. 40's right here now. Heading into Tozer. Not close enough to attack here into the hairpin. Maybe here at Piratella, he gets drive out of the hairpin. And there's nothing Roscoe can do. 40 takes the lead on lap 20 of 32. Yellow flags are about. It's Ghost Rider. Oh, dearie me.
Well, iPod gets a 3-second time penalty as well. A good measure. Hi, leaders. Goodbye, leaders.
As Nick has retired in the pit lane, it seems he's had enough. Second retirement, we're down to 14 cars. Roscoe still digging in, using a bit of battery here and there. Trying to keep the pace up. See the car doesn't really want to cooperate. Bit of understeer here. Bit of oversteer there. Going in.
You've got to.
Yeah.
There you go. Right there, good there.
Rightio. Beginning of lap 20. Yep, stays out. BP just behind in third. Set of medium tyres for Roscoe Arm as well. So he and Silderford have pitted for mediums. Interesting.
So, yeah, that. I mean, it's still dry.
And look where Roscoe Arm comes out relative to Plebs. That gap's huge between those two. Roscoe Arm was behind Plebs. Roscoe Arm is now, what, 3.5 seconds in front.
Yeah, pretty much.
I wonder if Roscoe Arm, and maybe Silderfort as well, is thinking that it will continue to rain, but not heavy enough.
But not heavy enough to
make
go onto the intermediate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we got 12 laps to go, and they're quick laps, so there isn't a great deal of time left for the track to turn to intermediate conditions. And that brings up a point that the top four here, they've got to do another stop to meet the 2 compound requirement. Like 40 and ACW pitted earlier for soft tyres, but they started on the soft tyre, and BP and Pump, well, they started on those mediums. So they're praying that it turns intermediate. Turns to a wet track at this point.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also, yeah, Ferrari Pro, he's definitely not catching his targets as well. But guys that are at the that he needs to get, like especially ACW, he's just losing significant amounts of time.
Yes.
With those tires. He's just gambling and gambling, but it's just not working.
Andre's in. He's done 20 laps on the mediums. What does he do? Is it intermediates? Is it softs? It looks like inters.
Okay.
It's a gambling game at the moment, KD. Drivers aren't really sure what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like what they're trying to, I like the gambling game. But it's either you get the risk or you get the rewards out of this whole thing. Let's wait and see what comes out of all this.
And it seems for those intermediate runners, they aren't getting any reward on those tyres at this point.
Yeah, not even close.
But
yeah, they're losing time to the leaders. To the leader, like Plebs is the closest to the leader in terms of the gap, but he's 36.4 seconds behind.
Yep.
And losing time.
Yep. So he'll end up behind Ford, maybe not ACW, but ACW will continue to open that gap. So he'll get himself into a position where he'll end up in front of Plebs. So
yeah.
As I think Ghost Rider there getting out of the way of BP, the man in third place again. BP's found himself on the podium a few times over the course of this season. Maybe he'll find himself on the podium once again. I suppose only time will tell. Andre, a 3-second time penalty. Yeah, Plebs now 4 seconds behind Silderfort. They used to be about 2.5. So that's grown quite a bit. Power Sight's in. What is he going to move on to? Those look like inters.
And they are. I'm thinking VP is going to go for a medium soft stint. That's what I'm going to guess that.
Well, I reckon in his position he might want to try and stretch it out until inters, if it does indeed turn to intermediate conditions. I mean, again, it's that risk versus reward thing. Do you keep going, praying that it turns to intermediate conditions, or do you get on the soft tyre and use it optimally? And we're going to find out right now. He's in.
And actually, the track has gotten a bit wetter.
And it's got a sheen to it.
So maybe it is, actually, maybe it is intermediates. Maybe I'm wrong. It's not, we won't go soft.
Intermediate tyres for BP.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Pump is the same. Roscoe now moves into third place. What's the gap between him and BP? That'll be the key gap. Silverfort's in fourth as well. Well, here comes Plevs.
Plevs stays ahead. Or just gets ahead, I should say. As Roscoe gets a 3-second penalty.
So, let's see here. BP's about 5.7 behind Silverfort. Plebs runs wide, and here comes BP. Looking around the long way here at Tozer. Can he get the over-under? Not quite.
You can't do it with these sort of slippery conditions, I'd say. Too difficult.
Gap at about 5.7 seconds. G-Force Ford. ACW will probably follow.
Yep. Correct. Here come the intermediates. Then for Ford. And away he goes.
The next story, what do these fellas do on the mediums? Does Roscoe Arm come in? Yes.
Yes, he does.
Silverfort's
got to follow.
Yeah.
He's got to follow suit. There you go.
So where do these fellas come out relative to those already on the intermediate tyre? Roscoe, he gets the inters bolted on. There goes Plevs and BP already. ACW comes out just in front of Plevs. There we are. Plevs and BP battling into Tamburello. Coming out of turn 4 now, heading towards 5 and 6. The gap is 0.4 of a second between P3 and 4. Roscoe comes out P6. Silverfort P8, and there is race control telling us DRS is now disabled. It's turned off. Everyone's now on the intermediate tyre.
And good luck trying to pass as well, because it is very difficult to do so in these conditions.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all I can say.
This track is difficult enough to pass in the dry, let alone in the wet, so... The only battle we have on track is the battle between ACW Plevs and BP V8, and even by saying that, it's pretty much sorted. Because ACW doesn't have a pen, Plevs have 3 seconds, BP has 9, but they might battle on track if they get close enough to one another. Out in front, enjoying life, is G-Force Ford with a 10.3 second lead. Driving quite well at the moment. Keeping it nice and tidy. From this, ACW is set to gain quite a bit here at Imola to his championship rival. He's got a 7-point margin heading into this round. It's set to grow quite a bit with Ferrari Pro down in 7th place. So, and who's got fastest lap? Let's see.
Ford does, doesn't he?
Not by much though, by 0.06 of a second to ACW. It's pretty close.
Well, I mean, that's not going to be. I mean, it's not going to be beaten anyways with these conditions. So.
Nope. Quite right. Seems that Plevs, he's got his hands full a little bit with BP. He hasn't been able to close in on ACW. And BP has kept up with the Mr. Race Spec. So this battle for third on track isn't completely over. We still see some on-track stuff probably between these two. And only the top two haven't gotten time penalties, 40 and ACW. The only two.
And you said there was a 7-point gap between Ferrari and ACW, correct? So based off of where they're positioning right now, I'm looking at the points. The gap would be an 11-point difference in favor of ACW. So basically, he would be up by 18 points going into the next round if it stands the way it is.
You sure your math stands?
Well, actually, wait.
Top 15 score points, so 30 would go to... oh, no, sorry. 23 would go... It'll be 19 points.
Place.
19 points.
Right.
7th scores 11, 2nd scores 23, so it'll be a 12-point swing.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
But there's one little footnote, that is Ferrari Pro only has 3 seconds worth of pens. Roscoe Arm has 6. So Ferrari Pro is set to overtake Roscoe Arm at the end of the race thanks to pens. So that'll move him up to P6, where he will score 13 points. That'll shrink up the points gap to 10 for this round. So 17 by the end of it.
Alright. Well, that was an oops on my math.
Math things. We love math things. They're great.
We do. They are fantastic.
It's... Always have to keep an eye on them towards the end of a season. They become all important. Get the pen and paper out, do quick math. Ooh. Using all of the curb there, plebs, at the exit of Villeneuve. Coming out to Tosa now, heading up the hill towards Piratello. Battle is certainly not over between these two on track. Everywhere else, though, the gaps are pretty big. Plenty big gaps throughout the rest of the field.
Yeah, that's typical for conditions like this too as well. Especially when they play the game. You have a lot of drivers play the gambling game. What to do? Zach's got a penalty there. Grayson Stelly to 9 seconds. Time penalty.
Race leader begins lap 29 of 32. He's now got 4 laps to go, 4 more tours of this circuit. And steadily increasing the gap to ACW. ACW wouldn't mind too much about that. He's scoring a healthy amount of points here at Imola. Increase that margin between himself and Ferrari Pro heading into the next round, which I believe is at Mexico. Good to see we're going back to that. Yay.
Your favorite place in the world.
But it's pretty close with Australia, though, as my new quote-unquote favourite track. Oh, BP, bit sideways there. I'm starting to really despise Australia quite a bit. Just...
Well, imagine with the new layout, though, too.
Yeah, I don't know how that will fare for me, because I've never been particularly great at Albert Park. And there's so many things you have to worry about, like with many racetracks, I suppose. But with Albert Park, there's all these auto spin curbs where you could so easily lose it as BP. It's another time penalty. Yeah, it's just... And then you've got turns 11 and 12, which is now turns 9 and 10 on the new layout.
And
that's just...
Dreadful. Dreadful. I
so
hate it.
Easy to screw it up and put it into a wall.
It wasn't even like that in 2020, though. Like, you could literally ride those curves easily.
I don't think it was too bad in 19 either, if I remember.
No.
Oh,
well, it wasn't as good as 2020. 2020 actually made it better. At least in my opinion. Like I said, like the inside curve of 12 and then the outside curve, if you ever use it, it's actually not too bad. I mean, you could still spin there, technically. But not majority of the time.
Yeah, no.
Now it's just, yeah, you're just going around.
It's constant death every time you go through there. Just, yeah. Not fun. Not fun.
I mean, it didn't even... even with the new layout, real life with the new F1 car, that's still typical Australia in terms of the racing. It's terrible. I mean, I didn't think it was that great.
I didn't think it was particularly amazing either. A few of my friends told me, "Oh, it was great. Did you see that midfield battle where Lance was doing his interpretation of defensive driving?" But to be honest, I didn't see much with that midfield. Like, yeah, it was tight, but they didn't battle one another really. They stayed in a line, and they just, it was close, no doubt, but they didn't do too much. And here comes BP.
By the way. Yep.
Takes P3.
Yeah, I didn't even like the race, to be fair. I mean, it was just pretty much going to be Charles Leclerc winning the race. I mean, he looked quick overall and it proved it, obviously. So, I mean, no, there's nothing against it. I mean, I like Charles Leclerc, but, like, it's just I wanted to have a good race. I was hoping it would be, but it's just, nope, disappointment. Yet again, because it's Albert Park.
Yeah, well. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it either. And, yeah, I thought it was a tad bit disappointing too. But oh well.
Yeah, we move on, I guess.
Yeah. But from that race as well, I saw a stat that Charles Leclerc becomes either the 26th driver or he made the 26th ever Grand Slam. In Formula 1. After... as 40 goes straight on at Tamburello. He takes the old layout at Tamburello.
Guess he wanted to do a bit of experimenting?
I suppose a bit of exploring.
He's lost some time, but not a lot.
Yeah, Charles got a Grand Slam from his performance at Australia, put it on pole, got fastest lap, led it every lap, and won the race. Do you want to take a wild guess of who's got the most amount of Grand Slams in Formula 1? Random stat?
Just a random draw. Any driver, you said? Right?
A logical draw, but yeah, a random one.
Schumacher?
No. Jim Clark.
Jim Clark, really?
He's got 8 of them. Mind you, he's got like 24, 25 Grand Prix wins. 8 of them were Grand Slams.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know, right? Jim Clark is quite the underrated superstar of Formula 1, that's for sure. And speaking of superstar, well, that's not very superstar. Big old spin there for 40. Fortunately for him, he's got a whole heap of time to get it pointed back in the right direction and get going again. Coming up towards the line, and he's lost the Grand Prix.
ACW just won.
Well,
there you go. And was it dead even at the line? Because there's no interval.
It's close is what it is, yeah, but I'm a bit lost on that one, if I'm honest.
I am too.
Plebs finishes P3, BP in 4th, Pump in 5th, and Ferrari Pro finishes in 6th, Roscoe Arm in 7th, Silderfort in 8th, Zach in 9th, and Andre, he'll complete the top 10. I don't know, that might be called up to the stewards post-race about what happened there. Yeah.
That is an interesting finish. And well, I don't know if I would call it anticlimactic. Maybe just weird, I would say it is, to be fair.
Bags Liddell, he'll be our final driver to cross the line. He will finish in 12th. Everyone who has finished will score points. With only 14 finishes. 16 cars started, 14 finished, only 2 retirements, and our driver of the day goes to Pump 46. We'll see his performance in the final results screen, but now the podium celebrations. ACW wins the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix after what can only be described as one of the most bewildering things I've seen in my commentary career that I'm not totally impressed by. Podium will finish in second, followed by BP. Another podium finish for him. He finishes in third. There we are. Look at that. 1.5 tenths separating the top two at the end of this Grand Prix. ACW wins with 40 finishing in second with fastest lap. Oh, sorry, Plebs finished third. What am I talking about? BP fourth, that's right, because BP had 12 seconds worth of pens. Plebs finishes in third. BP in fifth. Ferrari Pro P6, Roscoe Arm in 7th, Silderfort in 8th, Zach in 9th, and Andre will complete the top 10. Powerside P11, Bags Liddell in 12th. Key Duke and Ghost Rider finishing a lap down, but they will score points in 13th and 14th. Our retirements, Nick and Hilles. So Ferrari Pro P6, he'll score 13. ACW with the win scores 30. That's a 17-point swing ACW's way, increasing the gap to 24 points at the top. Yeah, I honestly don't know how to feel about that finish, if I'm perfectly honest. But anyway.
I'm on the same boat. I'm kind of confused in terms of how that finished. I don't know if Ford maybe did genuinely lose it. I don't know.
I was watching the whole time. He was celebrating, weaving about it. He lost it.
Yeah. No, I saw him lose it when I got onto him. And then I saw ACW I was on the board with ACW at the end of the race. Well, towards the end of the race, I should say.
Anyway,
right.
We'll invite the top three in. We'll have a chat. Party, add players. Yeah, a bit bewildered on that one. Rightio. Hello, Ford.
Hey, Ford.
Hey, boys.
Well,
Hello,
that's actually the
players.
first time I've ever met
Hello.
you, though. So, yeah.
I would just be waiting on ACW. I suppose.
Kyle, how are you, mate?
Doing fine, thanks.
This way. What's the time in your neck of the woods?
Shit. Probably like 3 a.m. I'm saying
3 a.m. Bro, you're a machine.
Yeah, he's a maniac.
I am a maniac, but also got WRC still going on this weekend. Well, we've got the final stage in a little bit, so I'm staying up for that, obviously.
Fair.
Yeah, okay.
We'll probably start the podium interviews and see. Well, there he is. ACW's shown up. Hello, ACW.
Hello.
Rightio, all three of you are here, so we can start the interviews. We'll start from third, we'll make our way up as usual. So we'll start with you. Plebs, not a bad day in the office for you. Did a lengthy stint on the soft tyre.
Yeah.
Made it last, how long was it? 21 laps, was it? 22? No.
I can tell you. Let me just get the replay. Yeah, it was...
Long
It
time.
felt like a long time.
I bet it would have been. Like, can you remember tyre
Percentage?
Yeah.
I think it was touching or just over 80. I can probably tell you that as well. I saved my replay. I'm just going to get to it.
Yikes.
But yeah, she was touch and go. Ferrari Pro got a puncture behind me.
Yeah, saw that.
But then, like, the inters were terrible to start with. I thought it was, it was that dry rain. This game likes to do from time to time, and it was only my second race at Imola, and never raced here in the rain, so I don't really know what it's like. And yeah, it was just awful. I don't know. Pretty much until the other guys pit, and then it was kind of okay. But then my tyres were pretty worn by then, so
Fair enough.
Yeah. Still happy with P3. I don't know, like, yeah, I'll take it.
But how was the rest of the race for you? Qualifying initially, of course. How did that fare?
Qualifying? Yeah, I was really happy with qualifying, actually. I think my first lap was a 15.0 despite like having a half spin, and then I did a 14.7 and then a 14.2 something, which I was really stoked with. I'm like, that's a pretty good time. It's only like 3/10 off my time trial time, so whenever you get that close in quali, it's probably a good lap. So yeah, very happy with that lap. I think that was P4. So yeah, it was pretty close in the end. Yeah, and I got a good start. ACW seemed to get a average start, so I tried to get alongside him on the outside of turn 1, and yeah, managed to get through, which was kind of important, I guess. And yeah, I saw all those guys started pitting. Bailey pitted, and then ACW pitted, and then like I was actually going to come in the lap after ACW pitted, just to try and stay in the train. And then Jeff said 5 minutes till rain, and yeah, I think the rest is history. It's kind of like, yeah, it started raining, but it was like it was another 10 to 15 minutes until the inters were actually the fastest tyre. So yeah,
useful.
Yeah. I've just seen my tyre percentage. I'm watching the replay now. 81% was my worst.
Gee whiz.
When I pitted.
81%. What side was it?
Right rear, 81%.
Yeah, that was a puncture. That was a punctured tyre for.
Yeah, I don't know why that one seems to cop it the most. I guess traction zones.
Perhaps, and it is a anti-clockwise circuit. The right-hand side cops more. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I pitted lap 20, so 20 laps on the.
20 laps on the soft tyre. Do over half the race. On the soft, they would have felt like complete garbage.
Oh, so awful. The inters weren't much better, like to start with. It's pretty much the same, and yeah.
Well, then you had experience on terrible tyres, so
yeah,
able to deal with it.
But then, yeah, I'm not sure where BP was early on, but yeah, he came out just behind me.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, ACW came out on inters just ahead of me, so I'm like, oh, it wasn't too bad. I thought I'd lose heaps of time, but it wasn't too bad, so. Yeah, that's probably about enough for my race. It was pretty boring after that. I didn't have much pace in the wet. I had to let BP go second last lap because I had to save enough fuel to finish, so.
Righto.
And he had 12 seconds, so I wasn't bothered.
Underfueled a bit because of...
Yeah, underfueled a lap, and I only got even, like, as I was crossing the line, pretty much, so.
Righto, yeah. Fair enough. I don't know. Sounds like a pretty hectic race on your end to manage tyres, manage fuel at the end, manage the conditions too. To come through the finish third. Pretty solid performance, I'd say.
Yeah, I said before it started in the chat with the boys, I'd be happy with a top 5, to be honest. Yeah. Poor Ferrari Pro with the puncture. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame for the championship,
like
but I'm sure ACW will be happy with that, and what happened in the last corner. Bailey losing by less than a tenth this week, or tonight, rather than last night.
Yeah.
What's it feel like to be on the other side, Bailey? Not great.
We'll get to that.
Silence, I guess.
KD, do you have anything to ask Mr. Race Spec?
I don't think anything much more, but good job on your podium, though. At least it's something to be at least satisfied, for sure.
Yeah, I'm very happy with it, to be honest. Yep, thank you. Yeah, great. Congrats to ACW and Bailey as well. They were just too quick.
Well, I was going to say next week we're over in Mexico. How do you think you're going to fare? I guess off your performance in Formula Endurance, I reckon you're going to enjoy next week.
Yeah, I do like Mexico. It is one of my stronger tracks. I think I nearly won last season. I can't remember actually. I was battling Jax for a while, so. But yeah, I might. Hopefully we got more drivers so Bailey doesn't have to race. and might have a chance of winning. But yeah, we were pretty close last night. I think it's just the penalties. Yeah, it's a bad track for Penn, so we'll see. Yeah, I am looking forward to that one. I'm actually I'm pretty 50-50 for it with being away, but I should be back in time. Hopefully.
All right. Well, we'll see whether or not you'll be here next week. But for now, congratulations on your podium finish here at Imola.
Thank you.
We'll move on to P2. And I can't believe it's you that I'm interviewing for P2.
Do you want to interview ACW first and act like that never happened, or...?
No, we're going to act like that did happen because I watched it all unfold.
We all watched it.
It was worth a try.
I mean, it was looking good. You put the thing on pole position and you led for a lot of that race. Looked comfortable.
It felt pretty comfortable too, to be quite honest with you.
It felt like a good race.
It felt like a very good race.
Yeah.
Nah, but in all honesty, I don't think you'll ever catch me doing that again. And I owe massive apologies for R13, whose championship, you know, I affected a little bit. Not to say I lost it for him, but it doesn't help.
7-point swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's alright. All it takes is one race the other way.
Yeah.
So don't lose hope for R13, is what I have to say.
What happened?
Yeah. Are we still talking about it?
Ran out of talent? Question mark.
I mean, he is asking the questions.
You decided to take the old layout on the final lap at Tamburello.
I actually did it. That truly was an honest. That they were both honest errors, but that one was an error. I was pushing too hard there, and just locked up the front. I don't know if you were on board then, but that was.
I saw the beginning of it, not the locking up bit, but I saw you going off. Yeah.
No, I did lock up the front there. That was you know, that stuff happens. The stuff on the final straight doesn't happen.
No.
You know what I mean? No. No. But yeah, I'll talk about my race a bit if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, okay.
Go for it.
Yeah.
You had 31 laps of really good stuff.
Yeah. It was, I knew my tyres weren't going to make it all the way to the rain pretty early, I think. That's why I pitted lap 6 or so to get the most out of my other fresh set of softs.
Okay.
Which, this is the most disappointed I've heard you.
Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah. I'm pretty disappointed too. And then, pretty much had a really good second stint on those softs and a really good last stint on the inters when it went wet. Yeah.
The only thing stopping me from being more disappointed is the fact that we're still live. So, be thankful for about 2 minutes. KD, got anything to ask Mr. Ford? Anything?
Well, what did you genuinely lose control at the final turn, or did you just, I don't know?
I was trying to wheel spin it up.
Too overconfident?
Overconfident, definitely overconfident. I felt pretty good with my wet stint for most of the time. I was easily quickest on track by probably about a couple tenths per lap easily. But it didn't show that coming out the final corner. But yeah, I thought I had more control of the car than I guess what it showed.
Right.
I just noticed something in the chat. Bags, I will, just not now. Alright. I will, just not now. Final question for the live part of this. Next week, we're over at Mexico. First of all, will you be attending?
Maybe. I don't know. Depends if I get an invitation again.
Alright.
That license might be revoked. I don't know.
Well, if you do attend it, I imagine you'd be feeling pretty good about it. You did pretty well in Formula Endurance last night, so...
Yeah.
Pretty lucky, though.
Hey, no penalties tonight though. That's massive for me.
That's right. You were one of 2 drivers not to get any penalties tonight. So.
And the only other one who didn't get it was the one who crossed the line before me.
Quite right. Well then, I don't know if I should congratulate you for 2nd place, to be honest.
Nah, I don't think I deserve it. Yeah.
Well,
You congratulate me on Tuesday.
I'll say best of luck for Tuesday.
Best of luck.
How does that sound? I don't know. We'll go with that.
Thank you, Lane.
Poor Force just being interrogated.
We'll move on to our race winner, shall we? At the end of a 32-lap race, well, this man led none of those. In fact, he led only one
Not even a corner.
Oh, not yeah.
1 centimetre I led.
5 meters, mate.
Led a total of 5 meters. Our race winner is our championship leader, ACW. I bet you couldn't believe your eyes what you saw at the final turn, could you?
I could not.
No. He literally rolled out the red carpet for you.
I was hoping he spun out at turn 1 because I saw yellow flags and there was a blue dot.
Mm.
And then didn't really spin out. And then on the start finish I see yellows again. I see it's him again.
Mm.
Then I actually started to push.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it by a 10th.
Fine margin, very fine margin at the end of it. But no, how was your race, ACW, throughout that? First of all, how was qualifying?
It was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if I nailed the lap, could have maybe challenged Bailey's time. But
It was a 14-1 you did, wasn't it?
yeah.
Not too far behind, like Bailey did a 13-9, pretty quick lap. Get into the 13s. You lined up P2, and I think Plebs mentioned it wasn't the best to start, was it?
Okay, but I was fighting Ferrari, and I was trying not to spin out, like just not risk anything.
Yeah.
And obviously, Plebs just went for it.
Yep.
Got by.
Yeah, it was really hard to go side by side through there,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it's just I don't want to risk spinning out and losing everything.
Yeah.
Very narrow
Fair
bit
enough.
of track, very fine margins, so if you exceed them, turns into not good time. I was going to say something else, but then I stopped myself. But how was the rest of it for you after the race started? You were at the front, or that front train, battling a bit.
Yeah, I felt like I just didn't have enough Australian speed to overtake Plebs through that Irish train, so I just like tried something different and pit for fresh softs.
Yep.
And pray that I get like a dry but wet track.
Yep.
Which luckily happened.
Yep.
Because when I pitted, Jeff then told me 5 minutes till rain, and I was just regretting my decision quite a bit.
No, as Pleb said, it started raining in 5 minutes, but it didn't turn to intermediates until quite a bit longer than that. So,
quite thankful for that.
It was pretty even in the end, wasn't it? Because you came out just ahead of me when you eventually when you pitted for inters.
Yep.
It was
So,
only
yeah, wasn't much in it.
about 1.5, I think, seconds or something, if memory serves me right.
And then once I got pit for inters, I just took it easy.
Yep.
I had 2 warnings. So.
Yeah, so you were managing at that point not to try and get a third. Fair enough.
I wasn't pushing too much, and I was still pulling away, so
Yep.
just kept doing it.
Found a nice balance and just got on your way. And then last lap happened.
Yeah, something happened.
I suppose in fairness to you, ACW, you had a bit of bad luck this season your way. I remember the Silverstone race where your wheel disconnected on you at Lovefield.
It was my pedal decelerator.
That's right. Yeah.
And
Stuck you on full throttle, and you did donuts in the gravel trying to fix it.
Quite a while.
And that the win was taken away from you there. So, I suppose the racing gods have smiled in your favour this time around.
Yep.
I'm waiting for my paycheck.
Oh, you'll get paid something in a minute, Chief. But no, it's nice that the racing gods smiled on you today, ACW. And
Yep.
put on a pretty good performance still to finish. Oh well, you were in second place for most of that race, and then the last lap happened and you won. So no, congratulations on your victory, and you'll have a 30-point gap heading into the next round at Mexico, which is a really healthy lead.
It'd be I think it's 24.
Well, if he finished sixth, so that's 13 points. You got 30.
Yep.
So that's 17 plus the 7's 24. Oh, I'm an idiot.
Hey, we're both having math issues today, eh, Lane?
Long day. Long day.
Yeah, I know.
That's almost a race wins lead heading into the next round, almost. So, but how do you think you'll fare next week at Mexico?
Mexico tends to be a nice circuit for me.
Fair enough.
Make sure I just get that 7 points over Ferrari and hopefully seal the champion.
Rightio, HCW. Congratulations on your win tonight here at Imola. We'll see you next week over in Mexico City, huh? But no, congrats.
Yep. Thank you.
Well, I think, KD, with everything said and done, it's time for us to end the stream. Not a bad race at Imola, to be fair. I've seen plenty worse here at this racetrack. I have seen better, but I have seen plenty worse. Yep, everything said and done, it's time to wrap up the stream. Tune in throughout the week as we've still got plenty of racing to come here on Race Spec Esports. But for Pacific Elite, we'll have to wait until next week. Until then, I've been Lane Everingham. My co-commentator, as always, is KD1997. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you for round 14 of the championship at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for the Mexican Grand Prix. Goodbye.